Well, I'm not going to pretend that I believe for 1 minute the trouble we're in today started in January or November or 8 years ago or 20 years ago. In fact, what I'd like to do is share with you a little story about a man who saw this coming a long time ago. His name is F.A. Hayek, and he was an economist, and he said that democracies, now this is back in the 40s, democracies that were pursuing socialist agendas, he named America specifically, by the way. He said that at first it would be really easy to get the people to hand over their power to the government. All you had to do was get everybody to agree on something very general. Who doesn't want the government to do something about the economy? And so all of the Americans get together and they say, I want the government to do something for me. Let's have them do something about this horrible economy. The problem Hayek saw was that when you get down to the specifics, the methods used always involve robbing some people of their liberty in order to reward others. In fact, in communist Russia, they had a word, a saying for this. It was called whom. Who do we rob and to whom do the spoils go? Now, since elected representatives like those in our country always run into trouble with whatever group they happen to be robbing at the time, they eventually start passing off their decision-making power to unelected officials. These unelected officials are often given the sort of power that should only be held within wartime over the people. And so what do we have today? Well, for example, we have the environmental czar, who is currently waging a battle against global warming. This is a man who can control the industries, private industries. He can effectively raise prices on everything you want to buy right into the stratosphere. And you can't do a thing about it because you didn't elect him. Hayek's book was called The Road to Serfdom. Serfdom, you know, think of tenant farmers who are allowed to live and work their land, but they don't own anything they produce. The scariest thing about this book is that the man who wrote it in 1943 was writing from experience with the rise of Nazism. He had fled Austria and watched from Great Britain as the great intentions of compassionate socialists were taken over by National Socialism, and they devolved into genocide. He was shocked that American progressives in our government were propagandizing the people of this country to believe that there was something inherently wrong with Germans, Italians, Russians, that they would allow themselves to fall to a dictator like Hitler, Mussolini, or Stalin. But he knew that wasn't so. He showed how the foundation was laid by the very socialist ideals that were being fostered right here in America, and I contend have never stopped being fostered by the elites in Washington. If you think about it, this man sounds like a prophet today. If you look at our country, it is infested with unelected czars. They are setting wages, they are gobbling up private industries, and they are extorting banks. It is like we are being governed by the mafia. Unfortunately, this is the very same government that we are told to trust to take care of us. This government tells you you don't need to plan for retirement because Social Security will be there for you. You don't have to worry about your health because Medicare or some single-payer plan will take care of you. Don't worry about it because Big Brother is going to take care of you with the money of all those greedy rich men. Now I want to ask you something. So what if this administration and every single one that's gone before it for the past 100 years had absolutely nothing but the best of intentions? What if they really care about you? They really care about the poor. They really care about people with no insurance. So did the socialists that came before the Nazis, the fascists, and the communists. They cared, and people handed over control to them, but it was eventually used against them. Now we, like the people of those doomed societies, have handed over control of our choice in the marketplace, control of our health care, control of our incomes. Let's be clear, the power of life and death we have given into the hands of strangers. What happens? What happens when the administration is no longer benevolent? What happens when a Hitler, a Mussolini, or a Stalin shows up in our White House? How will we call that power back? All that power that we handed over hoping for an easier existence. Well, I'll tell you, we won't. We won't be able to, because we will be helpless, having been weaned from liberty to dependence. Make no mistake, they cannot coexist. You must be independent of the whims of your government, or all you are is a slave to their mercy.